you doing? I hope you're doing well. Spiritual counselor Sean Thomas Villamana, and I've got a whopper of an episode right now. It's pretty graphic, actually. So, this is an explicit show. If you are a minor, please get the fuck out of here. Read the labels next time. Come back and listen. And actually, that's kind of a theme. Kind of the whole thing, the show. And it's gonna get hardcore. It will definitely get hardcore. So, I hope we all gain some awareness and a higher understanding of ourselves from it. I've got a tiny little mic I'm using. It's so cool. If you look at the picture, for the episode, I put it up there. It's a littlest tiny microphone. And I got it off Wish. They got so much cool stuff. I've been buying stuff off Wish like crazy, and it's fun. Things are so cheap. I got like a suit for like $20. I got shoes, nice dress shoes for like $10. Anyways, yeah, that's neither here nor there. Figured I would play. My friend came through a couple days back. We were just driving along and we started freestyling. No, I'm kidding. We were spitting our written raps, but I wanted to play some of that for you. Well, here we go. My phone is being a weenie right now. Okay, now we're going. We're good. Good? We're good. Last time. Alright, we got this. There's no mistakes. No. Right?
It is time to finally
I don't believe in
just embrace what has been forsaken.
mistakes, right?
Inside is your fire that was taken. Now bring to life this world you have a stake in. Finally woke up from the deepest sleep of my life. Stopped fighting my heart and manifesting my strife. Always thought I knew who I was and what I believed. Really that was nothing more than just what I perceived. Reality nothing more than what I choose to make it. Who I am was just waiting for me to reach out and take it. But it's more than just having knowledge up in my mind. Surrendered my beliefs to tap into the divine. But surrender to me didn't come easy and clean. Lost people I love, hurt at the core of my being. But I flipped the frame, created strength from my pain. Now I don't play the game and get more of the same. The demon within me is what I had to tame. No need to destroy, just driving in the same lane. Had to realize peace wouldn't come from the fight. Just turn my hindsight into the light of insight. It is time to finally awaken. Just embrace what has been forsaken. Inside is your fire that was taken. Now bring to life this world you have a stake in.
I see the day dying as it falls on the horizon. Eyes called to tomorrow as time keeps flying in bed. I'm thinking about the week I'm never getting any sleep, forgetting lessons I should keep. Memory gets tossed in a long lost folder. Steadily remembering the days less gray. More fun, less pain and more wounds. Today's much colder. Deleted in my mind around the corner. As it's only getting older, barely getting by. Spending all of my life like it was something they buy. I need cash to survive, so I full blast hustle. 9 to 5, that ain't shit to my struggle. So I put on the change, done, move the rubble. Got scars for days, crack whip shifts double. Straight to the grave for this born ass crime. Take my resume so I can offer my life. Yo, fuck that bullshit. How comes raising this bitch like it was lines? Slowly kills us on due time. I ain't about that. Is you about that? Try to live my life free. How about that? Yeah.
Time to finally awaken.
How about that? Yo.
Just embrace what has been forsaken. Inside is your fire that was taken. Now bring to life this world you have a stake in. When I finally started to wake up out of the dream. Things were not as they seemed, I was no longer a fiend. Started pulling the veil away from my eyes. Saw myself in everyone I loved behind a disguise. More I saw of the light, the more I wanted to know. When no one around me really wanted to grow. So hard to stop myself from shining my light. Seeing everyone's fear that was controlling their life. The more I tried to show them what they could not see, the more they just projected all their fear onto me. Loved ones told me I was manic and ill, but I knew in my heart I didn't need no pill. Had to stop showing what they weren't ready to see. Learn to live in my own light and let others just be. So I choose to shine my light through the love in my songs. Wanna escape the dark and follow along. It is time to finally
In half a mile, keep left to stay on I-680
just
north.
embrace what has been forsaken. Yeah.
I love that. That was sexy.
Dope.
That was so sexy.
That was sexy. That was very sexy. I dug the heck out of that. That was dope. And yeah, no, that was a good day. That was cool. That was Ideal Dialect for you. He is a new age, well, we should call it the new age, right? New age rapper. Bringing some awareness to the rap scene. And that's good, because the hip-hop scene is getting a little bland with its, let's not even talk about that. Yeah, the hip-hop scene needs change. Very much. Very much. And, yeah, no, it was a good day. We drove out into the hills and the mountains, and we saw his old, well, I guess you could say his mother from another. And, yeah, very much so. And Alma was her name. She was a very, very cool person. She goes around doing, I think it's called an ashram. And, yeah, she's won a Nobel Peace Award. She's helped, different countries out, and, like, helped a lot of people out in India, and planted, like, many acres of fruit trees, and built hospitals, all kinds of cool stuff. And that's a thing that you don't really hear about on the news. I think I talked about that last time, but I mean, when do you ever hear about that stuff, right? I never hear about that stuff on the news, you know? Why is that not talked about? Why? I don't like that. I think it should be talked about. And that's why nobody's out helping each other, because nobody sees it, right? I remember when I tried to start my movement, oh God, it was bad, because nobody was down. And, like, whenever, like, I talked about it, people would be like, oh, I didn't even see it as a factor or think about it, but people were like, I guess, judging me for it as though I was bragging about helping people. Like, it's like, what is that in the Bible, right? You don't go do something righteous to, like, try to show off. And it's like, well, I mean, of course I'm not trying to show off. I'm trying to get people to freaking join in, and do it too. But, I guess any excuse we can muster for ourselves. That way we don't have to think about that kind of stuff or any feel any responsibility towards the things that we're not doing that we should do. I think so. Otherwise, we got no reason to complain about the, atrocities in the world, really. It's basically like choosing, right? It is, really. Anyways, that's not too much here, but it's there, right? This episode, actually, it's about a very, 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 very hardcore topic. I guess I'll start it off with saying my own efforts into the mix. Well, when I was a kid, right, I was really young, maybe like 7 or 8 or something. Somebody that I knew from the neighborhood, well, she was an older chick, and I didn't think of terms of chick, but, she was a friend. I was older, right? And she approached me one day and was in the backyard and all, and she just kind of like told me what to do, and she said it would be cool, and I remember her saying specifically, I always remember this. She said it's okay. My dad said it's okay, right? And yeah, I was just a kid. I didn't give a fuck. I mean, like, what was going on? Like, I ran around naked, just Hawaii, right? I was a kid. I ran around naked most of the time, anyways, or not most of the time, but a lot. I was a kid, and I just took off my pants and whatnot. And I remember now, I do know that the mind tends to fabricate memories. Every time we look back to a memory, the brain actually reworks it. It's a way the mind tries to basically like save a memory. Is that you have to remember the memory in order to keep it, but every time you do, it changes it a little bit. It works it around so that way it fits other things. So this could be just an illusion in my mind, but I seem to remember, her father, the other side of the fence slash bushes, recording with the camera, you know, and yeah. So I guess technically, that was in child porn, you know. Years later, I remember the cops were over there at their pad, and you know, I was a little kid and I was dumb. I didn't know anything, and I barely remembered or connected any dots. So like, I asked her like, "What happened? What's going on?" And she's just silent. Years later, I put the dots together, and I was like, "Oh, oh." So I guess technically I'm a porn star. I laugh about it because, like, I mean, okay, here's the thing, right? I would talk about that, right? And I learned that through my teenage years, my older later teenage years, that when I talk about it, people would always say, "Oh, I'm sorry." Oh, that's and they get all like really like shocked and like freaked out about it. And then what started to happen for me, I didn't realize at the time myself or my own emotions or my own mind or how it worked, but I was accepting that and taking it in and assimilating that, that kind of judgment, that kind of idea of the meaning of the moment, right? And I would start to feel like it was like a scar, like it was like traumatizing for me or some shit, like it was horrible. And I would every now and then I'd bring up the story again, and the more it unfolded, the more like I started to feel like I was like a freak or some shit. And then one day, I don't know, I was telling the story, and I realized in the story that because every time I would feel a little bit weird in my heart, like just off, you know, feeling bad about myself for it. And then I realized, like, wait a second. Like, when I was a kid, like, I wasn't phased at all. Like, I had fun. Shit. I mean, yeah, dude recorded. Like, did I give a fuck then? No. Why should I give a fuck now? Right? And then that became kind of like an freeing thing. Like, I was kind of, I was free from the impositions of the meanings applied to things because the meanings were applied obtusely, anyways. You know, people were making people's minds. They were saying and thinking whatever the fuck they wanted to, and their emotions based on what they felt about it, and projected onto me were what I had accepted as meaning, and it was meaningless, really. So you see, like, when I look back at it now, like, I can do it from a place of more or less, I guess let's just say it's authenticity, honest to the self, right? Because, I mean, like, it was only truly the impositions from others about the meaning that made me feel like I was damaged or scarred. And the truth is, there was no damage or scar. It was a game I played in my head because I accepted the game other people played in their heads. And it was just a fucking game. None of the fucking any trauma shit happened. Like, like the dad guy, he never touched me. He stayed on the other side of the fence. Fucking yeah. So let's fast forward. Let's fast forward all the way in time to today. It's over on Reddit, and I never go on Reddit because Reddit is like, well, it's Reddit, right? There was a post I came across in relationship advice community, and this is a hardcore post. It's a very hardcore post. I'd like to read it for you, if you're willing. It's a long one, and I'll probably make little stops here and there. Okay. So the title goes, I am in love with a teacher who sexually abused me as a child. Could this become a functional relationship? How do I find the strength to break it off? She's a woman, age of 23 now. Okay, so here we go. She says, Hi friends, I'm pretty new to Reddit, and I'm unsure if this is the best place to be asking this, but I'm making this post as a genuine call for help, and wanted to include as much detail of my situation as possible, in case you guys pick up on anything I've missed. Any advice is more than welcome. I'm a girl, by the way. Not sure if that will change the situation at all, though. This is going to be a little graphic and or triggering for some readers, so please proceed with caution. It's going to be long, so TLDR at the end. It started when I was 12. I was enrolled in prestige performing arts school, and during my orientation, I was introduced to an experienced and well-loved teacher who we will call Ernest. We got along really well, and I was excited to begin classes with him. I had been very nervous up until this point, but he made me feel at home. I've never known his exact age, but he must have been in his early 30s when we met. Class began the following week, and nothing out of the ordinary really happened. I was learning a lot, and I was confident that I was where I belonged. I found myself looking forward to Ernest's classes more than other lessons, and due to finding out about some of the amazing musicals he'd worked on, I wanted nothing more than to impress him. It didn't take long before we started becoming quite close, and we began to get to know each other's interests outside of our mutual love of the performing arts. I was close to 13 when I realized I had a crush on him, and I was very obvious about it. I would touch him / his arm at any chance I got, and made blatant attempts to keep our conversations going as long as possible. I would do my dance steps wrong on purpose, in hopes of him physically correcting me. At some point, I started hanging back after class for extra assignment help. He always seemed extremely keen to assist. He started asking me questions that weren't related to my work, and our conversations became pretty deep as I opened up about how alone I felt due to a sick family member soaking up a lot of my family's love and energy. One of these afternoons, I had sat myself on his lap while we were talking, and it didn't seem to bother him, so I did this a few afternoons in a row. One evening in particular, he was speaking very closely to my ear. I don't know if it was his breath on my neck or his hand on my waist that drove me to do this, but being the besotted and hormonal preteen I was, I turned around on his lap and kissed him, and he kissed back. This happened a few times over the following fortnight. Pretty soon, our afternoon kisses became sexual. Everything was over the clothes at this point, and more frequent. I had been 13 for a couple of months when it started getting more serious, and we would organize to meet up outside of class. And he would show me different ways on how he could make me feel good, and vice versa. I hadn't ever thought that what I was letting him do was wrong, because I wanted him to do it. I was horny as fuck and had the most popular and attractive teacher at my mercy. I would have been crazy not to agree. There were a few times he would push me into doing something I wasn't sure on, or was a little rough or forceful if I'd changed my mind on something. He would start sleeping with other women to make me jealous, or to provoke me into working harder to impress him. But for the most part, I never saw any of it as abuse. For the next 2 years, we would hang out outside of class and talk about our lives, dreams, and passions, and bonded over our shared obsession for Shakespeare. Sometimes these outings ended up something sexual, but most of the time we were just best friends hanging out. At this stage, my parents were going through a divorce, and Ernest helped me through it. He had become the most important person in my life, and I was obsessed with him. Excuse me. I was 15 when my class and I were flown interstate to tour some of our nation's greatest theaters and film studios. The teachers each got their own room, and every night I would meet Ernest in his. It was the first time I ever shared a bed with him, and it was intimate and special. I felt mature and adult, and he always treated me as equal. At 16, the rumors that had been circulating around the classroom made it home to one of the parents, and we were quickly brought in for questioning. I always knew our relationship would get us in trouble, but it never occurred to me how illegal it was. To me, it was exciting and risky and forbidden. We were like Romeo and Juliet. We went to court, and of course we denied everything. It wasn't enough, as there must have been proof in our text messages or on security footage to at least show some level of intimacy. In the end, he was jailed for a couple of years for grooming. I was devastated, and I had completely blamed myself for not doing my best in protecting him. By the time he was released, I had been in a serious relationship with a boy my own age for a few years. We agreed that zero contact was probably for the best. Fast forward to a few months ago, at the age of 23, I stumbled across a document on Netflix about a little girl who was whisked away by an adult she trusted, and during their time together was manipulated into falling deeply in love with the man. I was instantly brought back to my years with Ernest, and for the first time in my life I realized how wrong and disgusting our relationship had been. But it wasn't abuse. It was always consensual, and I was never beaten or threatened or kidnapped, like so many children have been. It couldn't have been abuse. ... Right? During this time, a close family member had passed away, and I was experiencing issues with my boyfriend. I had fallen into a dreadful depression and had picked up a pretty serious drinking problem. One night, in a fit of anger, confusion, and drunken stupidity, I thought it would be a great idea to track Ernest down on Facebook and message him. So I did, and I demanded an apology. Surprisingly, he replied instantly, and still drunk, I agreed to meet up with him in person the same week to discuss our past together. The agreed-upon day approached way too quickly, and I was in an emotional mess due to needing to quit my job the same day in relation to the issues listed above. I was devastated, nervous, hurt, lost, excited. We organized to meet up in a public park close to the theater he was currently working at, and I was so anxious I could vomit. I spotted him a dozen meters away, and suddenly the anxiety settled. We greeted each other in a very professional and serious manner. During our talk, Ernest never put a finger on me. He always waited for me to finish speaking first before responding, and never got defensive or raised his voice whenever I did. He was calm and respectful. His apology was heartfelt, and he admitted that the relationship we had was wrong, and he was wrong for ever letting it continue the way it had. I was starting to ease up, and began to feel more comfortable in his presence. Our conversation became a little more lighthearted, and he started explaining his side of the story, and why he had ever let himself become attracted to a minor. Not saying it was a valid excuse, but his reasoning got rid of any belief I had previously had about him doing it to hurt or use me. He had genuinely cared, and had strong feelings towards me. Honestly, that probably makes it worse, and even more fucked up. By the end of the meeting, we were joking around and laughing like the old friends we were. We ended up spending a good few hours catching up, and exchanged phone numbers. We met up a few times after this, and he took me out to, let me fast forward, because I got like 18 minutes. Basically, she says they fuck again. She's a drunken mess now. Still. And, they fuck. They're fuck buddies, she's in love. I think he has feelings too, whatever. And basically, she's in a mess, right? And then there was a situation where they were having drunken sex, and shit got a little bit violently sexual. I don't know. She doesn't really say whether it was like. No. She was drunk. She was drunk as fuck. So it was rape. Technically, yeah. That would be rape. But I mean, no, there's no buts about it. That was rape. Yeah. No, twice. There it is, twice. Yeah. Okay, so let's go to the end. When I was a kid, we were friends first, lovers second, and it's much the same now. But that's the problem. I was a kid. Any advice is greatly appreciated. I know logically this man is a criminal, but I can't imagine life without him. Yeah. We don't live together, but I'm currently studying at an art college near his work, and we meet up frequently, and I often stay the night at his apartment. Alright, now, since I got 17 minutes, this is a deep topic. If anybody is listening at any point in time, please comment your thoughts and your position on it. Obviously, it's really wrong, but, I think I'm going to put in something that a lot of people don't think about. Because I had something to say. Let me read that for you. See, it's all about meanings, right? That's why she's posting it on here. There's that pain in her heart. And there's the war in her mind. Remember, like I was explaining earlier, how I had applied the meanings of others and stuff. Generally, that can get us even more lost. So, I try to decipher things for my own self. I think everybody should, and be strong enough from the level of just your individual to interpret meaning. Okay, so I go and I say, you are searching for meaning in quotation marks. This is the first responsible thing I could say here. Recognize first, we each create our own meaning, and always have. That's the reason you're posting this. Because you have a battle within you, one you can't see, but you feel every inch of ground won or lost. The heart, it hurts, doesn't it? Love is love. Now, of course, people here on Reddit are also eager to establish their meanings over your life and over your soul. This is the art of magic. black or white, and is the first thing Adam did when he was created. He started labeling shit. Think about that. You want logic based on your meanings to harmonize with your heart and how you feel, but that is impossible, especially when the logic is based on a system of human. Love is love. Period. But we've lost ourselves in our human logic, and our human logic is ugly. It is disgusting. And in our use of it, we append others as ugly and disgusting. And in those dynamics, we harm each other in ugly and disgusting ways. And find excuses in every corner of our cowardice in order to perpetuate it. We do this in order to not love, to claim we don't deserve God's love, and to earn our undeservingness of love. Let me state some facts, and I welcome all debate here. Facts. 1. Every person here who casted condemnation onto the post author or her lover is choosing action which only creates more perpetuation. For as we condemn and blame anything, we choose its perpetuation. This is universal, and I dare you to apply this law to anything. Debate the universe in it yourself. You will lose and be shown as a hypocrite. Watch, you will see. As I condemn those who condemned, more will come to attack me now, as I am choosing to perpetuate by blaming them. Look what happened to Jesus. The science and psychological effect speaks for itself. 2. The only way to solve any issue is at the root, which takes empathy and acceptance. Drop the ideas and labels. Yes, I am taking a stance for the pedophile. This does not mean it's okay to do. It means I'm mature enough to actually authentically approach the matter in the true way that cures wounds. Attention, care, and acceptance of the matter. Any who fail to do so maturely are just as disgusting in that they choose to perpetuate it. Whether in denial of it or not does not matter. The science and history speaks for itself. 3. Reddit is full of idiots. This is true. I'd say it's not even opinion. Nope, that's a fact, as factual can be. This is still me writing. Yeah. Take all the comments of those condemning here, line them up, read the emotions and hypocrisy in the matter. I said all of them are actually choosing to perpetuate pedophilia, and append a label on them now written as the voices of demons. I'm trying to reiterate that. Let's emphasize that. The voices of demons. It all makes sense now, doesn't it? Now then, a prayer. To those who claim to be Christian, in Jesus Christ's name, may all who choose hate and to be demonic and twisted in their hearts go to hell. May they only redeem themselves through the ways you taught avidly and have been ignored by Christians in them. The ways of forgiveness, loving another as self, and compassion. Amen. To those who would be more of the spiritual New Age type, may harmony and self-awakening through empathy and connection to all that is find its way to all of us here throughout the pathways of the specific things we lack empathy towards, in all manners, karmically. And to those who have no spiritual belief, may all of us humble ourselves to where we are wrong, and so that we may gain higher understanding and higher awareness, which is the thing only found each time we humble ourselves enough to see where we're wrong. Since we all know that sometimes we do and say ugly things. And sometimes, most of the time, we harm innocent people because of our ugly thoughts. Now, personally, I like to say that all are innocent, but anyway, that's another talk. Okay. But those emotions are our own, and since they cannot be forced to be understood by another, we also must acknowledge that we cannot assume the understandings of emotions of another. This would be hypocrisy, and the exact natures of evil that David Hume wrote about. Every time we look at evil, it is due to stupidity of ours, such as this. And so in an attempt towards authenticity And in claiming our own desire to live in a better world without evil acts, we choose maturely to take the course of action that does not perpetuate it. All of that said, love is love. Do as you will. Choose as you will. Label whatever meanings you have from the past, good or bad, as you will. You write your own story, and you better. Most of these demonic-minded ingrates would do it for you if allowed, and your story would come out sounding horrid and tasting to the tongue just as their souls. I suggest writing it with a sense of heart and compassion. You'll find that your darkness of drinking comes from the appended labels of your life echoing of the meaning society has handed to you. They hurt, don't they? Pinned to your heart and sense of character. They hurt because your heart knows they are lies. Rewrite the story again. This time, with an eye for sense of humor, remorse, compassion, understanding, and an eye that sees the silver lining in every moment. And you will find that your story is beautiful and can have a beautiful ending. But obviously, if you let demonic-minded write it for you, it would never be able to have any beauty at all, and that's true, right? That's true. You see, you could read you could read all the voice in the whole thing, as the, let's just call it the hive mind, right? As the hive mind all reverberates the same echo of claim and judgment. Well, that would be hell. That's voice of demons. Now, at this point, it really doesn't matter if I'm talking about metaphorically, that's like a symbol, or if it's just, if I'm saying literal. It doesn't really matter because the effect is the same. You realize that. People could argue, oh, this is that, it doesn't matter when the effect is the same, right? That's why I like to say that it doesn't matter if Jesus even existed. He could have not existed. The real goal is to gain the wisdom from what he taught. I've learned things from watching the cartoon Naruto, and reading the manga. And they are very true things that are emotional wisdom and truths. It doesn't take it having to be real for me to gain that. Now let's talk about the demon stuff again, right? You see, what I was trying to do, and now this is a lot different than the approach everybody else was coming at, because let's read some of the other stuff. Somebody says, one of these, let's go to the top. People are saying things like, this man is using you. He knows he can get away with it. He had every intent. Stop talking, it'll get worse. There's no relationship. Just a man in a position of power and trust, and, blame, a lot of stuff, right? Of course, naturally, right? And it's not saying that it's a bad thing. Because technically, you gotta watch out. There's motherfuckers out there, right? Right here, this person says, yada yada. So thinking about its grooming. Well, okay, there's a lot of blame. I don't want to fill your head with that shit. There's a lot of, and of course there is, naturally, right? Because it's a horrible topic, and it's a horrible shit. It is. It really is. Now let me tell you why she became an alcoholic. It's because these echoes of demonic words and blame have been, since he got arrested and society told her how to feel, she has been in torment. And he has been in torment. Now both of them have had to live with these demonic voices in their heads. Whether we're talking about the echoes of the subconscious mind being just a psychological factor or a spiritual factor is irrelevant. The effects are all the same. Now they're being tortured with it. They're hurting from it. It's destroying their lives. And anybody could see clearly that this is the exact essence and nature that happens to a lot of people. All of us, really. At some level or another. And many of us are losing the battle. Because people blame. People accuse. Nobody accepts each other because of their judgments upon one another. Jesus Christ loved all. Now, even if it was a comic book or a fake story, it doesn't matter, because if you realize, we can choose that too. And as we choose that, we do not release evil acts into the world. We do not say evil about others to the world. We do not do things out of fear. In the dark. I suppose there's always a level, right? As Carl Jung explained the shadow effect, right? Talking about the shadow, he talked about how the ego has a kind of way to where when you try to do good or be good, you end up falling and becoming evil. Or if you try to be evil, you end up seeing the folly and you end up becoming good. And it's just like a lot of swamis say nowadays, we're all balancing in between. That's a very centered thing to say. And I believe that same thing too. Because there's no good or bad. If you listen to it as the tone, right? You see, these people on Reddit, now this is with any kind of thing like this, right? What they're doing is they're echoing back the same inner demons that she already has. And she already suffers. And they're kind of reaffirming it for themselves too. Oh, look, these demons are a factor and this shit exists, right? You know, but that's the thing too. Don't they perpetuate it through that? You know, if anything, they're only making the social aspect of the wound fester. It doesn't heal anything at all. And telling her what to do with her life, sure, you know, I mean, it might coddle her ego and make her ego and mind, which is already the problem, you know, temporarily feel better. But what about the heart? The heart is the one trying to say the truth, which is that the heart just loves. That's that. Putting more conditions over it, no matter the aspects, will always lead to pain and suffering. Because as we seek awareness and we seek the truth, it hurts to take the conditions off and face it, because then we feel shame. This is default. That's why we have to humble ourselves to gain a higher awareness, because it's our belief structure that's wrong at every level. The truth is always there, it's within us. We just deny it. It doesn't take a book, it doesn't take a teacher, it doesn't take anything to realize the truth. It just takes looking within. And that takes acceptance, forgiveness, love, compassion, and balance. Well, I hope we can all take this episode, and hope you guys got a good amount of emotional wisdom from it. I'm going to bounce out now. Hope you have a good one. God bless.
JK on the track.
Something like a symbol. Something like a symbol. Something like a symbol. I don't know. Ain't that a hype? Yes, that's such a cool hype. I love that. You know, I talked to the dude. This is the coolest dude ever. He's got a picture of Anubis on all of the shit. You know, some cat from the East Coast, actually. I was surprised, because hyphy is the West Coast thing. You know, this guy makes hyphy beats like no other. JK on the track, or on the beat, or something. Yeah, on the track. Yeah, he's a cool cat. I got him making a beat